Two bros chilling in the hot tub.
You the twos and we the ones? Well, you are the biggest two of them all, my dog. That's what you are. You are a giant number two.
Podcast as always. I am Bryce and I am joined by
I am Matt. I'm happy to be back from the holidays.
and we didn't obviously we're back from the week break. Hope everybody had a great Christmas and I'm just excited to be back on the podcast. But anyways, we're gonna hop into week 18. This is episode 17 of week 18 with some notable roster moves. First, in which yesterday Trevon Diggs was released by Dallas, and now like an hour ago it was announced that he's signing with the Packers. What does this do for the Packers and their playoff hopes?
Yeah, this is something that I think they desperately needed, like a bit of a spark plug on the defensive end. This is someone who has played at an all-pro level before. I think he's a good depth piece, but not someone you should rely on as your number one guy.
I agree. I think he's going to be definitely a starting corner for them. He's the interception leader from 4 years ago. So I do think that if they can get some sort of semblance with him, and he said he is healthy now, so maybe this is the piece they need to really put them over the hump. But next, Baker Mayfield is dealing with a shoulder as well as a knee injury. This news just came out, but everybody knows he's been dealing with a shoulder injury. What does this do for the Bucks and mainly Baker Mayfield?
I mean, he's definitely gonna play. I think we kind of can guarantee that'll be the case. The question is, how does he play? I think an injury like this is really going to hamper him a lot against a really dangerous pass defense that the Panthers have, which I think will lead into one of the things we talk about later on.
Yeah, I agree. We've seen Baker play with his AC joint sprain, and he hasn't looked particularly great. This team has gotten healthier, but they have still struggled because Baker Mayfield is not healthy. We saw last year when all the injuries going on, there was one solace, and they were good still because of Baker Mayfield and Baker Mayfield being healthy. And Baker Mayfield's playing injured right now, so they are clearly struggling. And this team has clearly shown that they are not the same team without a healthy quarterback.
Oh, 100% I agree.
Next, we're going to talk about that was really the only like news and roster moves that we're going to talk about. Notable Week 17 games we're going to talk about. There's a lot more because we have a lot less news. First one we're going to talk about is Christmas Day with Detroit and Minnesota. What are your takeaways from this game?
I mean, I would say this was a very boring game. I spent Christmas Day with my family and then my girlfriend, and the time we I was at my girlfriend's house when we literally turned it off. Like we turned it off to watch a cooking show. It was so bad.
Yeah.
Like I think everyone kind of utilized that game as a way to kill time before Stranger Things came out. But yeah, the game was just rough. It was not very good.
Yeah, no. What did Max Brosmer finish with?
51 passing yards.
51 passing yards. And they ended up losing because the Lions ended up eliminating themselves from the playoffs by Jared Goff committing 5 turnovers, 4 of which were his own fault. This is just proof that the Lions' offensive line sucks, that they needed Ben Johnson and Aaron Glenn, and this team, I don't know what they're going to do next. I don't.
This team it's interesting because you kind of have to wonder, like, they spent so much money on their core, and obviously Jared Goff isn't going anywhere, Amon-Ra isn't going anywhere, and Jahmyr Gibbs. But you have to think of a guy like David Montgomery who's a bit expendable. Send him off to get some picks or get some of your money back. You look at your defense and you have to wonder who there isn't fitting. I mean, when Brian Branch went down, this team really struggled to find its identity as a pass defense. Aiden Hutchinson can't do it all by himself. He's just not a Myles Garrett. He's not a Michael Parsons who basically single-handedly runs the defense by himself.
Yeah. This is definitely going to be an interesting team to look at next year because I think this team could be drastically different based on the fact that they are going to miss the playoffs for the first time since what 2020, the 2021 or 2022 season,
Hmm.
I think, because they had 2 seasons straight of making the playoffs and winning 12 plus games, and now they're back to not making the playoffs. Is this team going to be more of the same, where you see the Lions just being the Lions of old, or is this just a weird down year for them? We'll definitely see. But next, we're going to talk about Houston versus the Los Angeles Chargers.
Yeah, I think we saw the Chargers got completely outplayed here. The Texans defense is ridiculously scary, and I think it showed that Justin Herbert playing injured does not need to be the case. The Chargers had already clinched the playoffs at this point. I understand they were
Yeah.
playing for the NFC West, but I think there was a semblance of, hey, let's just protect our guys.
Yeah.
Let's look out for the players who are going to make us what we are. And I think that they're doing the right thing by not playing Herbert this week, but it's just a big question mark of what's going to happen with this team.
Yeah, no, I'm very curious to see Justin Herbert in the playoffs this year because we've seen him his last two playoff games where they had Brandon Staley and they blew a lead that they blew a game that realistically they should have won. And then last year against the Texans in the playoffs, they come up short and Justin Herbert throws 4 picks and clinches the game or loses the game for them. And are we getting regular season Justin Herbert that has been healthy, or are we going to get hurt Justin Herbert in the playoffs? I think that's really the big question mark. But sitting him on Sunday is really the best thing for them, I think, because you need a healthy quarterback going into the playoffs. And if Justin Herbert's healthy in the playoffs, it's over. All right, next we have Baltimore versus Green Bay. Packers fan, talk about this.
So I have two major takeaways from this game. This team is obviously missing Michael Parsons heavily, just from an overall morale standpoint. You can see Rashawn Gary is not the player he used to be. The fact that he's getting a lot of like he only played 45% of the snaps. He was being outplayed by Lucas Van Ness in snaps wise. And the Packers have a really good offense when it's either Jordan Love or Malik Willis playing. They were in that game until Malik Willis went down.
Yeah.
And you know, I as a Packers fan, it does concern me. I think this team is good, but I just wonder if they have a ceiling with Michael Parsons being injured.
I think that this is a team that instead of going after Trevon Diggs, they realistically should have gone after Matt Judon or Zadarius Smith, because I
Mhm.
do feel like this is a situation where they could plug and play a second pass rusher alongside of Rashawn Gary or an LVN and fill some of the holes that Micah Parsons left. Obviously, Micah Parsons, you're not going to be able to fill the exact hole that 100% because of Micah Parsons, but take some of the blow off of Rashawn Gary and Lucas Van Ness, and they met. And this team, without Jordan Love and without Malik Willis, will struggle if they have to play more than one. If they have to play Week 18, or if they have to play in the playoffs without either one of them, I think they're
I
screwed.
don't mind them not playing them a week 18. They've already clinched. The idea of being 9-6-1 isn't fun, but I don't really care that much about a record as long as they can make a
You
deep
mean
run in
nine
the
seven
playoff.
and one?
9-7-1. I don't really care that much about a record as long as they're going deep in the playoffs. They're already going to be the seventh seed. It's pretty much a guarantee at this point. So no
That's
matter
fair.
what, they're going to either face Philly or probably either Philly or Chicago first round.
Yeah. What's it called? Now we're going to talk about Tampa Bay and Miami because this is a game that Tampa had to win to even have a remote chance of well, they still
Yeah.
can win, but it makes it a lot tougher right now with them being 7-9 and the Panthers being 8-8 because regardless of the outcome on what's it called Saturday, the Bucks could still miss the playoffs even if they win. They
Yeah, I
still
believe
could.
if the Falcons win,
If the Falcons win, the Bucks miss the playoffs regardless. And that's the sad thing. This team needed everything to go right for them. Well, the thing they needed to go right was the easiest chance they needed to beat Miami, and they didn't. Quinn Ewers passed for 2 touchdowns, including a 65-yard touchdown to an undrafted UDFA named Theo Wees Jr., where he was wide open. I watched the play. There was nobody there. He just screamed right down the field, wide open for a 65-yard touchdown. Like, what are they doing? The Bucks. Yes, they have all their injuries on offense. This defense should not have all the question marks they have right now going into week 18.
No, I 100% agree. I think this Buccaneers team is not the team that we saw come out to a 5-1 start. They are playing with just so many injuries, and I think Todd Bowles is proving the level of coaching he has. So I
Mm-hmm.
think this is a lost season for them. I think realistically they don't make the playoffs anyways. There's two things going against them.
Yeah,
I don't even foresee them winning this game, to be honest,
yeah.
but it this you can't put this entire season on Baker Mayfield. And I think a lot of people are trying to do that. They're saying, well, this is what Baker Mayfield does. You look at it, he's actually been the reason they're in most of these games anyways. Their
Mm-hmm.
defense completely collapses and Baker Mayfield has to go
Didn't
on
he
a
throw for
miracle run.
300 and
He
two
balled he
on?
balled out
Yeah,
completely. Yes, he had two interceptions, but it's because the guy was consistently getting back on the field when he could not. They could not
yeah.
afford to have him back. So I
This
think
defense has let him down.
the
Todd Bowles
defense
has
let
let
him
him down.
down. And I think you have to look at him as just a guy who's doing everything he can. He reminds me of Kirk Cousins a few years ago with the Vikings, like playing like an absolute madman and watching his team lose games where it shouldn't have been
Yeah,
lost.
even peak Aaron Rodgers in the early 2010s with he would put up 40, but his defense would allow 51 in playoff games and lose. But yeah, now we're going to move on to the other NFC South game because Seattle versus Carolina happened on Sunday, in which the Panthers all they needed to do was win to even clinch, and the game on Sunday wouldn't have mattered, or Saturday wouldn't have mattered. But now there's more pressure on them now than there unquestionably was before because they already beat Tampa Bay once, but this is a team that alternates wins and losses right now. They've alternated wins and losses. Well, the last few weeks they went on a hot streak, and then that's the reason why they're in this in the first place. But yeah, what are your takeaways from this game?
I like what the Panthers have to offer. They give me a lot of the feel of kind of the first year Tampa Bay had Baker Mayfield, a team you really didn't expect to do much. Honestly, a team who was looking like they might have been moving on to a new quarterback after their bridge guy, who was Baker Mayfield, and this idea now it's Bryce Young. I don't think they make a run in the playoffs no matter what. Only way I think they win a playoff game is if they take on Green Bay, just because they've already beaten Green Bay once and they're even little bit better. And the Green Bay is more hurt than when they placed them the first time. But this is a team that should be happy to make the playoffs and know they're going to be building off of it. So I do not see them doing much in the playoffs. One of them sitting, they'll be the 4 seed. They'll realistically end up taking on the Rams
Yeah,
or the Niners, one of those two.
or the
Who
Packers.
no, the Packers are
Oh
pretty
wait,
much
they can't
locked in
take the Packers
7.
on. Yeah,
But like
yeah. So they'll either
either of
face
those
the
two teams
Niners
could
or
probably beat
the
them,
they'll either face the Niners, the Seahawks, or the Rams.
which I don't foresee any of those three teams losing
I
to
mean,
this.
they beat the Rams already
Yeah, but
once.
the Rams, it was a shootout of a game. I think you'll have a pissed off Rams team looking to like make up for the fact that they were the 1 seed and now drop to the fifth or 6th seed.
Yeah, that's true. They're the 11th seed, and they're going to be 5 or 6. There's no chance they can win the division right now.
No.
They can't anymore.
There's me
But yeah,
three
now,
teams from that one division in the playoffs.
yeah, that's insane. Next, we're going to talk about Jacksonville and Indianapolis because this game was so infuriating because the Colts kept the Trevor Lawrence in check passing wise, but they could not stop him running the football. He had an
No.
interception and no passing touchdowns, but he had 2 rushing touchdowns. So it's pretty much like his weak passing performance didn't matter because he still did enough with his legs to where they couldn't do anything. And Sauce Gardner is now 2-13 this season, including 1-6 for the Colts and 1-7 with the Jets. Is it time to admit that that trade was an absolute mistake?
I would say no. I don't think anyone looked at Indy as a real Super Bowl team this season. In my opinion, we all kind of knew the team that they were going into their massive run. Even most people actually predicted a fall off from them. So I would say that this is not a lost season. It was not a failed trade. Honestly, I think you're just looking at what the next season can be. We saw this team get gashed through the air the past few weeks, and the moment Sauce Gardner comes back, they end up holding one of the best quarterbacks of this season to a pretty low passing day. We saw how
That's
their
true.
run defense failed them.
Yeah. This defense is once again let the Colts down like they have done pretty much the last 5 games, last 6 games. And it just sucks that they gave up 2 first rounders for Sauce, and now they have other pieces that they need to worry about, and now they're not going to have 2 firsts the next 2 years to deal with it. So this just sucks. Next, we're going to talk about Pittsburgh and Cleveland. because boy are the Steelers fans mad right now.
Yeah, that's a game you have to win. Honestly, it's a bit of a shocker that they didn't win that game. Shador didn't have himself a good like threw two interceptions, one touchdown, a little under 200 yards. You have to capitalize on that. And Aaron Rodgers just did not play his best game. You watch him; he looked sluggish out there. They did everything they could to stop Michael Parsons, sorry, Miles Garrett, but it didn't matter. Like their defense could not hold. Actually, the defense held just fine. Their offense looked miserable.
Yeah,
If this is the offense you're going to bring against Baltimore next week, this week they're going to lose.
yeah. This has been a really up and down offense the entire year. They've had streaks where they've looked unstoppable, and then they've had streaks like Sunday where they just don't know how to play football. And what Pittsburgh are we going to get if they make the playoffs? That's all I'm saying is we don't know what Pittsburgh offense we're going to get. And ironically, when their defense struggles, their offense bails them out. When their offense struggles, their defense bails them out. And their defense has been doing a lot of bailing out for them lately. So yeah, no, this one, I don't know what is going to happen come playoff time for the Steelers if they make the playoffs. But next, we're going to talk about Philadelphia and Buffalo. Because what are your takeaways from this
I
game?
mean, this was a heavyweight matchup, but on the defensive side, both of these teams have been looking really inconsistent the past few weeks. Buffalo finally started figuring it out, clicking together. I mean, they took down the Patriots, but then just found themselves in the weirdest hole against the Eagles. You know, the
Even struggling against Cleveland last week too.
it's very odd to watch Josh Allen miss a throw like that, to be honest.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the game winning throw, he just whiffs. It was very weird to see that happen. But every player has those kind of plays. We can't look at Josh Allen like,
Mm-hmm.
well, he's washed. But
Mm-hmm.
it's just, two teams who played like lights out on defense.
Yeah, and I get they went for two. I get it. Go for two. Go for two. No outcome can change whether you win or lose. Go out and win, or go out and try to win that game. I don't mind, but something needs to happen. This offense, the Bills have no excuses if they can't make the Super Bowl this year. Absolutely zero.
One
Their
talking point,
kryptonite is not in. Their kryptonite is not there for them.
one
They're not.
talking point that's going to be kind of overlooked this entire season is how from week one till about now, Joe Brady went from being a genuine head coaching candidate to someone who might not have his job next year.
Yeah.
He had this offense looking outstanding, lights out, like very scary through the first 6 weeks of the season. And they've just been so confusing. Josh
You
Allen's
know
had
what?
multiple games with no passing touchdowns, multiple interceptions. And you have to look at the plays, the play calling. I mean, you're watching Josh Allen see a play break down, figure it out, get out of the pocket, sling the ball, and watch his receiver drop it or have to run for his life. Joe Brady might have coached himself out of a head coaching job.
And their old OC is available right now.
I highly likely see them grabbing him as their
Yeah.
OC again.
I think Brian Dable is back with Buffalo next year as their OC. Next, we're going to talk about a game that was happy, well, kind of bittersweet for you either way, because we had Sunday Night Football last week between the Bears and the 49ers. What is your takeaway from this
So
game?
I have three major takeaways from this. First off, Brock Purdy, he has a lot more respect. Second off, Kyle Shanahan should be coach of the year from what he did with his team being consistently injured to now a game away from the number one seed in the NFC.
Mm-hmm.
And second off, this Niners team is scary. Like seriously, come playoff time, I'm not sure. I think maybe Seattle or Los Angeles are the only teams who can take them
I
down.
don't even think that. I think that people looked at the 49ers as they were winning football games as a slight on Brock Purdy. They were winning football games with Mac Jones. They were looking beatable. With Brock Purdy this year, they look unstoppable. They do. Brock Purdy the last 2 weeks has put up 40 plus twice, 2 weeks in a row, 6 days apart on Monday Night Football and on Sunday Night Football on the two biggest stages of them all. He has put up 10 touchdowns in the last 2 weeks combined.
Yeah, I mean, Brock Purdy
10.
is proving that he belongs as a starter in the NFL. A lot of people, when Mac Jones was winning with his team, were saying that like Brock Purdy basically is just a system quarterback, and I do agree there is a system in place, but you watch how this team plays with Brock Purdy, it's so different. I mean, Mac Jones, I believe he may have earned himself a starting role with somebody next year who's a
Yeah.
QB needy who falls down. I wouldn't be
Yep.
surprised if Pittsburgh makes a move for him, but like
Indianapolis.
Indianapolis, somebody. But you look at the difference in the team between Brock Purdy and Mac Jones, and it's really clear as day.
It's
Like you
night and
said,
day.
they're unstoppable. It's Brock Purdy's their guy for a reason. I
He
also have to
got
say,
paid
Caleb Williams
$250 million for that
did
season.
play very well. He looked good. You know what? What really helped the Niners win this game was that they held the Bears run game in check.
Yeah.
If you can keep this Bears run game on the down low, you're going to win because
Yep.
you're going to end up forcing Caleb Williams to make a mistake.
Yep. And I 100% agree. Caleb Williams did everything in his power to win this game. But when your defense allows 42, you're not going to win many football games. You're not. The defense let Caleb Williams down this game. What, he did throw for 300 yards and 2 touchdowns? And that wasn't enough. It wasn't enough,
But also,
apparently.
I will say this is a second time in a big game we've seen it come down to a final play where Caleb Williams is within the red zone and he does not complete the pass. The first play was against Green Bay, he threw an interception. The second time he played, yes, he was scrambling around, but we watched Brock Purdy scramble through two defenders, throw a beautiful pass to Juszczyk. Has to be a question about Caleb Williams in the clutch.
Yeah. I think I think we could realistically right now see it be a 49ers Bills Super Bowl. Realistically right now, I think we could see a 49ers Bills or a 49ers Broncos Super
If we
Bowl.
get to that, you what is the conversation about Brock Purdy? I mean, being going to the Super Bowl twice in his less than 5 year career, what's the conversation about him? Is he a top 10, top 15 guy?
I think he's got to be. Although there are going to be those guys like the Jalen Hurts haters who will say that they are winning in spite of him, which they won games. But if you they those are guys who clearly don't watch football games because you could see night and day the difference between Mac Jones and Brock Purdy on the football field. There's a clear difference. They have looked in command, in under control, and in control with Brock Purdy, where they just looked good, but they were beatable. Nobody believed. You didn't believe that 49ers were a
No,
title
I thought
contender
they
at
were
some
done.
point this year. And now with Brock Purdy at the helm, you were saying they're unstoppable. Almost. Like, look at that. A 49ers hater is saying that the 49ers look unstoppable right now because of Brock Purdy. Let that sink in.
Hmm.
Next, final game we're going to talk about is another NFC West team because we have the Rams versus the Falcons. What are your takeaways from this game?
The Rams are really confusing the past few weeks. I mean, we've watched Matt Stafford almost fall off a cliff.
Yeah,
Um, they lost against the Falcons, who they really should have dominated. And first off, and not just for playoffs, but also the Rams own the Falcons pick. So the Rams should almost want to beat down the Falcons to get a better pick. We watched as the past few weeks, this pick has slipped from 9 till about 13, which changes the ability for them to make a move for a guy like a Joe Burrow. So this Rams team, if they want to go back and win another Super Bowl, they need to lock in. Their defense
they
is
do.
started to completely slip. Matt Stafford is throwing interceptions again. He's turning into early years Detroit Matt Stafford. And honestly, he might have thrown away the his
I
MVP candidacy.
I don't think he has. I still think with his struggle that he had on Monday Night Football, I still think that he's still the front runner.
I
I
agree
just
with you, but if he does this again in the playoffs, like first week of the playoffs, you might just watch this MVP go to Drake May.
yeah, I agree 100%. Matt Stafford put them in a hole, and he did a damn good job of getting them out of the hole that he put in. And they almost came back and won. They did. That Puka catch at the end, you argue, could have been a catch. I think realistically it should have been a catch. But I think if you're the Rams, you shouldn't be looking at that incident as the reason
Mhm.
that you lost the game. No. Matt
Yeah.
Stafford's play the first two drives is the sole reason why the Rams lost that game.
And
It,
I,
it
I
did. It
really
is.
I struggle when people are like, oh well, let's look at the Puka Nakua catch. Let's look at the first three quarters where you put up 7 points.
Yeah.
Let's look at the fact that you let yourself fall down to a team like Atlanta. Um, Good teams beat bad teams pretty easily.
Mm-hmm. And they didn't.
If we want to talk about this, yes, Atlanta's been weird. They've knocked off Buffalo, they've knocked off the Rams, but we've seen genuinely good teams take down bad teams. So I'm not saying the Rams are a bad team, but they're a weird team.
Yeah, they are. They're kind of like the Ram. They're kind of like the Bills right now, where they should be unstoppable, and they have glaring. They're slumping going into the playoffs, and that's never what you want to do. You never want to slump going into the
I
playoffs.
mean, a few weeks ago, people were clearly saying it's a Bills Rams Super Bowl, and now you have
Mhm.
to wonder either of those two. I mean, a lot of people are now thinking it's probably like a Seahawks Broncos or a Seahawks 49ers.
Yeah,
Oh, no,
maybe even
Seahawks 49ers,
Philadelphia.
sorry. Broncos Niners.
Maybe
Like
even Philadelphia too,
Philly, yeah, I
because
mean,
they've started to figure
New
it out.
England.
Yeah. Alrighty. Now it's time for the fun part. Week 18 predictions. And we're not going to do a week 17 record prediction because we didn't do an episode last week, so we're not going to do it. So, week 16, I went 7 and 9. Week 16, you went 9 and 7. Meaning, total record for 2025, I'm 156, 72 and 1, and you are 130, 108 and 1.
Hmm.
So, you caught up big time, but I still think it's too late for you to even catch up now.
Yeah, 100%. I don't think there's.
Alrighty. First, we're going to start off with the first game of the week, in which the winner makes the playoffs, the loser, well, not necessarily. But Saturday afternoon football between the Carolina Panthers and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Who do you have winning this game?
You said Saturday Night Football?
Or Saturday afternoon football, I mean.
Well, it's afternoon for you, I think. It's night for me.
It's 1:30 in the
Oh,
afternoon for me.
yeah, this pretty much night for me. But I had the Panthers coming out of this. I think there's just too much going on for the Buccaneers to win this game.
I think I have Carolina. I have Carolina winning 23-16. I do think they're going to win regardless and eliminate the Bucks either way. Next, we have another game with massive implications. We have Saturday night football with Seattle versus San Francisco, where the winner gets the number one seed and the loser gets five or the six, depending on how the Rams play.
I
Next, who do you have winning?
I have Seattle. I think if you watch this defense, they're just a little too scary. It's going to be a very tight game, though.
It is. It is. I think I have Seattle winning 30-27. It is going to be close. I do think Seattle pulls it together in the end and wins and takes the number one seed in the first round bye. Next, we have the early Sunday games in which we have Indianapolis versus Houston, in which Riley Leonard is making his first ever start. Who do you
I
think is going to win this?
Even with the fact that they're going to bench their starters, I have Houston winning this game.
Oh, I didn't know that they're going to bench their starters.
I'm
No,
assuming
wait.
they're going to bench their
No, wait.
starters.
They're not because they can still win the AFC South.
Oh, I forgot. I thought they already
Yeah,
locked it in.
yeah.
So
No,
they're
they can still
definitely
win the AFC South.
then they're 100% winning this game.
Yeah. Yeah, I think Houston wins 27-16. I think the Colts are a team that really need to think about a lot of things in the offseason. But yeah, no, it starts right now. I think that they're not winning again. Next, we have New Orleans versus Atlanta. Who do you have winning?
I gotta find this on here. Did I even mark this game down?
Yes, you did.
Oh, I have the
You
Saints
did.
winning.
Yeah,
I like what Tyler Shuck and his offense is doing along with his defense. So I have the Saints taking dub.
I have Atlanta winning 26-20 and ruining Tyler Shuck's win streak. And passing the Bucks in the NFC South standings.
Talk about two teams, the Bucks and the Lions, both who were at the top of their divisions last year, probably gonna miss the playoffs and fall far down their standings.
Yeah. Next, we have Cleveland versus Cincinnati.
I have just I believe Joe Burrow is playing, so I have
He
Cincinnati
is.
taking this one.
I'm pretty sure, at least. I have Cleveland winning 33-30.
That'd be really
I
dumb for
do
them.
believe what
That'd be really dumb for them.
I know for to win a game that they could
That
get.
would be very stupid.
All right, next we have Green Bay and Minnesota.
I believe that Malik Willis will probably play, so I actually have Green Bay winning this game.
Regardless, I have Green Bay winning 24-10.
I hope
I
so.
do. Next we have the Dallas Cowboys versus the New York Giants.
I think the Cowboys win this as a morale booster.
Yeah, I think Dallas wins 36-21. I think obviously there's nothing to play for because they can't make the playoffs, but still to go 8-8-1 would really help their season. Next we have Tennessee and Jacksonville.
So both of these teams have a lot of momentum right now. I don't know what it is about the rookie. I think I'm going to go with Tennessee to beat
I
Jacksonville here.
Hey, Jags, listen to me. Your team will fold. Tennessee's winning. And Jacksonville will not have a home playoff game.
That means Houston will.
24-17 Tennessee.
That means Houston will.
Yeah, either way, I'm screwed. I'd much rather have Houston winning than Jacksonville. Next, we have the New York Jets versus the Buffalo Bills in the afternoon Sunday slate.
I gotta go with the Bills here. I think the Bills need this win a lot more.
I think Buffalo wins 30-10. Next, we have Detroit versus Chicago.
I believe Chicago will probably bench rest their starters, so I'm gonna go with Detroit here.
Wait, I think there's a chance that they could get the one. No, wait, they can't.
No, they can't get a
Never
one
mind.
seed.
Yeah, no, but I still think Detroit wins regardless, starters or not. Next, we have the Los Angeles Chargers versus the Denver Broncos.
I have the Broncos because the Broncos
Yeah,
can still play for the one seed, and we already know that Herbert's not playing.
yeah,
I think this is gonna be a pretty ugly game.
yeah. It is. It makes sense that he's not playing. I think Denver
This
wins.
will be Trey Lance's first start in a few years.
Yeah, since he was a 49er.
Yeah.
Yeah. Next, we have Arizona versus the Los Angeles Rams.
I think the Rams are playing for seeding, so I would not be surprised if they still win this game.
I think the Rams win 37-23. Even if they're slumping, the Cardinals haven't won a game in over 2 months. So, and they still are probably not going to get the number one pick, which is the funny thing. Next, we have Kansas City versus the Las Vegas Raiders.
Speak of that number one pick, I think the Raiders are going to do everything they can to keep it, and I think the Chiefs are going to finally win a game.
I think the Raiders win 10-6.
I'm saying after the showing
Horrendous
they
game.
had against the Giants, I think it's pretty clear they're trying to get that number one pick.
That's fair.
So I just don't foresee the Chiefs losing this
All
game.
right, next we have the Miami Dolphins versus the New England Patriots.
There's a few things that we know in life: death, taxes, and the Dolphins beating the Patriots in important games. So I have the Dolphins winning this, giving the Broncos the number one seed in the AFC.
I have New England winning 30-23. I do think that this is a different Dolphins team, and I think this is a different Patriots team. Although it's weird to say that this is a different Patriots team in a good way with the Brady-led Patriots, but I don't. I think this is a new regime that doesn't lose the Dolphins. Next, we have Washington versus Philadelphia.
I foresee Philly probably sitting their starters, so I have Washington winning a game that just doesn't mean much.
I still, regardless, I have Philadelphia winning 20-16, in which it doesn't matter if they're on their backup. Washington's on their third string quarterback. It doesn't matter. Give me Philadelphia 20-16. All right, final game in which the winner makes the playoffs and the loser misses the playoffs. Winner wins the division, loser misses the playoffs entirely.
So
Between the Baltimore Ravens and the Pittsburgh Steelers, who do you have winning the final regular season game of the 2025 season?
uh, as a Packers fan, I have no choice. I have to go with the Steelers here. I think Aaron Rodgers has one more playoff run in him.
Yeah, sorry, Lamar. You're not making the playoffs this year. I think Pittsburgh's winning 29-26. I think this offense is going to figure it out. I was fooling everybody when I said what I said earlier. I do think that Pittsburgh's offense is going to figure it out, and they're going to win 29-26 and clinch their playoff spot, in which they're going to get a home playoff game next week. So, yeah,
It would probably
which
be
is funny.
against either the Chargers or the Bills.
Yeah, because who's the 5 seed?
It's
Oh, it'll be the Jags or the Texans.
You're right. Which sorry, Steelers, you're getting knocked out then.
Yeah, because we all know what happens when the Steelers face the Jags in the playoffs.
Yep.
Ben Roethlisberger throws 5 interceptions.
And Blake Bortles turns into Tom Brady.
Yep. Alrighty. Anyways, that's gonna do it. I hope you guys liked this. Happy New Year to everybody. We will. 2026 is going to be a huge year for the podcast. We look to take many leaps. But if you guys like the video or the podcast, as always, you know what to do. Like, comment, subscribe, and as always, we'll see you guys in 2026. Peace.